All right, let's talk about New Zealand and England. Got a huge second test at Eden Park in Auckland coming up this weekend. It was an absolute blinder of a test match in Dunedin last weekend. So yeah, lots to talk about. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers, and give your comments down below. If you're a New Zealand or an England fan, where are you? How do you assess where your team is at right now? What do you think your expectations are for the weekend? I'm also interested in neutral opinions on these two teams, because it's easy when you can be objective to give an assessment. I've had a lot of people come up to me on Saturday itself, actually quite a lot, before the South Africa-Ireland game, coming up and saying, your England team's looking really good. And I have to say, I am more optimistic about England right now than I have been in a long time. I really have. And I will get onto that and the other stuff in the channel. Let me just show you where I am. I'm at Salt Rock Beach, just north of Durban in South Africa here. Absolutely awesome. Might get a bit of spray firing up from the sea down below. I think the tide's still coming in. It is absolutely stunning here. It's more like Malibu than anywhere. Palm trees behind me and some of the houses. Bet they cost a pretty penny. Crikey. Absolutely lovely. Right, anyway, rugby is why we're here. But yeah, I appreciate your support on the channel. And the interest that you're taking in the trip to South Africa. I'll try and show you as much as I can of the country while I'm here covering the rugby, talking about rugby. But it's the games in New Zealand that are the focus right now. And as I just said, I'm more optimistic as I stand right now about this England team than I have been in a long time. Now, there have been some grim times as an England fan. Bearing in mind the expectations of England fans is up there, as it probably should be, with the player pool, with the power of the union, the money and all the rest of it. The expectations should be up there, and it's fallen short in recent years. It's been pretty tough to watch at times. I remember there was a lot of negativity during the Rugby World Cup. There were England fans out in France getting on England's back. And hey, look, I'll tell you what, you can go back and look at all the videos from the Rugby World Cup. Look at what I said back then. I backed Steve Borthwick's game plan then, when it was really structured, really rigid, territorial, kicking, and if you want to describe it another way, boring. I think that would have been a fair criticism. I defended it then, and I think we're seeing what Steve Borthwick was up to, which, you know, blowing my own horn here, this is exactly what I said was going to happen, because he did it at Leicester Tigers. And I'm that much of a rugby nose, I watch all of the rugby I can, including the Premiership. And when Steve Borthwick took over Leicester Tigers, the first year or so, year and a half, 2 years, it was heavily structured, seriously rigid, territorial, high kicking, didn't want possession, focus on the defence kind of rugby. And that laid the foundations for Leicester going on to win the Premiership. And then they started to open up the way that they play. He's done exactly the same with England. It got them to within 5 minutes of a Rugby World Cup final. Steve Borthwick has made England very, very hard to beat. And those were the foundations. And now we're seeing the attacking play start to be layered on top. Now, I have been dubious on this channel about whether Richard Wigglesworth is the man, has got the credentials and the capability to take England to where they want to go. The jury's still out for me a little bit on that one. He's so inexperienced, but I'm seeing enough at this moment in time to feel pretty positive about that. England should have won probably should have won the game at the weekend. Yes, there were missed kicks on both teams. It was an opportunity that was there begging, because New Zealand are going to get better and better with every game under Scott Robertson, you'd expect. And it was there for the taking. That said, as I say, I'm massively positive, because whilst a lot of the players, particularly in the forwards, are the same as under Eddie Jones, there's enough new blood in there that makes you feel like this team can keep getting better. George Martin is 22. Absolutely love him. He's a proper enforcer in the second row. He just smashes things. He's so hard. And Maro Itoje back playing the kind of rugby that he did earlier in his career, and we've been hoping would happen. He's getting back to his best. That was a great performance from Maro Itoje at the weekend. Chandler Cunningham South, 21 years of age. That's the kind of I mean, bearing in mind we've just lost Courtney Laws, one of the greatest England players of all time. He would be, in fact, I was who said this? I can't remember who said it. Courtney Lawes, if you took the England 2003 World Cup winning team, Courtney Lawes is the only player since that you would put into the England pack that won the World Cup. Huge statement about how big he is. And Chandler Cunningham South came in and he's shown he's to the manner born at this level, and he's only 21. But it's the back line where there's the most excitement. That's where the churn and the change has happened. Tommy Freeman, George Furbank, Emmanuel Faye-Waboso, a completely new back three. You've got Ollie Lawrence now without Manu Tuolangi looking over his shoulder. He is the main man at 12 now. You've got Henry Slade having a brilliant season, that sort of guiding, controlling force, a left boot option, and another distributor in the back line. You've got Marcus Smith. I mean, I'd be happy with George Ford as well. I'd be happy with Owen Farrell for that matter, but Marcus Smith now with an opportunity to make the shirt his own, and Finn Smith coming through. And Alex Mitchell, probably the most exciting of the back line of all of them to me. He was good during the World Cup. Bearing in mind, Steve Borthwick didn't even pick him in his World Cup squad. And it was only an injury to Jack Van Poortvliet that got him in. And my goodness me, has he taken his opportunity. I'm very happy about where England are. They should have won. Defence was brilliant. You start to see Felix Jones's mad blitz defence starting to work. It is high risk, and England will concede tries because of the blitz D, but high risk and high reward sometimes, and they made a mess of New Zealand's attack. And I'll come over to New Zealand now, because there have been a lot of people saying New Zealand's attack wasn't very good. It was a bit of a mess. But again, you have to remember England's defence put them under all sorts of pressure. And I think that is absolutely a relevant context there. As for New Zealand's defence, that can improve. That looked a little bit weak. I think there were times England, I don't know, it was as much as anything, it was the gain line. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Whether it's attack or defence, England probably got the better of the gain line over the 80 minutes. And that's something that New Zealand will need to address, because they have got incredible talent. Their back three is outstanding. Their wingers are awesome. D-Mac and Perifetta as two ball players. Bodie Barrett coming off. I mean, awesome. But you're not winning the gain line. You can't show it. You can't flex that muscle. And England got the better of New Zealand at the breakdown. And really, if you had to, the one thing that New Zealand were way better than England at was the strength of the bench. And I think that's where the game was lost for England and won for New Zealand, was the quality of the 8 players that came off the bench for New Zealand, and the big drop-off there were in some positions for England. So that's the depth that New Zealand have. Their front row and replacements were really good. Tupivai made a really important turnover when he came on. Bodie Barrett added a bit of control when he came on. The one area of the field for New Zealand where it seems like people are a little bit down on them, it's just what I'm sensing, tell me if I've got this accurate or not, is centre. Geordie Barrett and Rieko Ioane. I think there's a sense, certainly what I'm hearing and what I seem to be reading, is there's a sense that these are two square pegs being forced into round holes. Is that how you see it? I may be one of the few people at this moment in time I'll massively defend Geordie Barrett. I think he is world class. World class. I think he's awesome. That one of the missed passes he did, his distribution is outstanding. The booming boot that he offers as a kicking option outside D-Mac, just go one out and then boom, a big crossfield kick. Missed a couple of tackles, yes. But overall, I don't see an issue there. The one where I've kind of got a little question mark, I'd be really interested to see a different player 13 for New Zealand, even if that meant Rieko Ioane on the wing. Although I don't know which of the wingers you'd want to stop, because Sevu Reece was a menace, kick chasing, and Talea is world class. So I don't know if you'd want to change the winger, but anyway, I'd quite like to see how would the balance of New Zealand's backline feel if they had a more conventional 13. I think Rieko Ioane's upside is too good not to have on the field, so I think that's why he's in the 13 jersey. But it'd be interesting to see if it was Anton Linnett-Brown or one of the new faces. I'd be interested to see that. But overall, I thought first game for Razor, win, solid foundations with areas that can easily be improved. Defence is something you can sort out pretty quickly. Bit of game tape, you've got clever, intelligent players, that can be solved. So I think there's more chance of New Zealand winning this week at Eden Park than there was last week. And so I think New Zealand will get better, but I think this is going to be another absolute blinder of a test match. Two really good teams, and we need this in World Rugby. We need a strong, and obviously I want, selfishly, a really good England team, because I'm English. But World Rugby needs a strong England. I'll come on to Wales and Australia in videos to come. We need as many of these top teams delivering, and England, New Zealand, I think, certainly as a spectacle, and as two objective teams, are delivering that right now. I cannot wait for the second test. I'll be up early on Saturday morning, although I am on South African time, so it's not as early as it will be for people watching in the UK. So a nice civilised 9:05. I'll be watching that game and then posting a video straight afterwards. Obviously, there'll be more to come when the teams get announced. What changes would you like to see in the two sides? I think for New Zealand, that 13 jersey would be interesting. I don't think Razor will make many, if any, changes. Maybe the replacements, maybe rotate those young props in a little bit, perhaps give them some game time. That's going to be the interesting one for England, and that is the concern. Props. I've been talking about it, so I won't labour the point too much. I've been going on and on about it. Replacement props, not good enough. The depth of England's front row in general, not good enough. And Finn Baxter, fair play for coming on, playing nearly 70 minutes and doing yourself proud. But him and Bevan Rodd, without Joe Marler now, could be under the pump this weekend. So, yeah, that's going to be a massive test. But we'll know a lot more by Saturday lunchtime what England's prop situation is going to be looking like going forward. But I have major concerns. Tight head probably most of all. Can't keep rolling down Cole out forever, but for now, the Koala Bear, you need to go and do another shift, fella. Right. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.